Hello, welcome to our introduction of the MMG Axis. Now, if you don't know, the Axis is designed to convert all of your signal flow, so NDI, SDI, Dante, and hardware, within your workflows or within your studio broadcast, many applications that we'll go through later. It also enables you to have vMix, TriCaster, OBS, or our production software to actually facilitate, streaming and cutting cameras and all those kind of things. Now, with this particular video, we really wanted to tell you a little bit more about the full story and go into depth about what this is, what it can do for you, and how it works. So as a starting point, we're going to start with a brief story of MMG, just for those of you that do not know, where we come from and what we were doing before we released the MMG Axis. So I'm Ryan, I'm the CEO of MMG. I spent many years freelancing. This is just over about 13, 14 years ago when everything all began in that context. I was originally doing audio and doing that for live bands predominantly, and worked for some touring companies, and then moved across to the corporate world. Within that, I then learned video, just from the sort of early points of pushing buttons on Pulse, that kind of thing. And then as a result of learning that, I moved on to learn the lighting. Not as well, I might add, actually, but audio and video, very, very, very concise learning on all of that. I then moved on to do project management at the same time for various clients, which led me to sort of go around the EU and sometimes globally to do tours for corporate companies. This all led me to basically set up a company, so MMG, MMG Events at the time, and we provided services, production services for clients within five-star hotels, so within London, places like the Corinthia, Landmark, Cafe Royale, Mandarin Oriental, that kind of thing. Now, that was all standard workflows because remember, this was very much pre-COVID. And then COVID kicked in, which was an interesting time. So we assumed that actually the company might even stop trading at that point, in all honesty. And we looked for where we needed to move to. Now, we got Alienware machines at the time, and vMix, and started to play with what we could do and how we could set things up, how we could move things forward. We ended up working with a lot of clients, helping them through the time of COVID, helping them communicate with people in hybrid and virtual events. And then as we came out of COVID, we found that we were a little bit ahead of the curve, basically. So production companies that hadn't got the insight that we'd got or had the time to test things and learn new ways of working, would come to us so that they would have us, white label events for them to help them. Whether that was the full show delivery or just the streaming or just signal flow, the little parts that were sort of found to be difficult. We, since then, have moved on to grow and grow and grow. In all honesty, we've done some very, very big shows in the virtual and hybrid space, and we've worked with a number of brands, so manufacturers of other equipment like Atomos and Bird Dog, which I'll tell you about in a moment. The other thing that we've been doing is training people. So for the past 4 years, actually, we've been the only company in the UK to deliver in-person vMix training. Initially, that was to help freelancers reskill and move forwards in different ways. But now it's about training groups. So we've trained companies in various forms, and actually taught them how to have a unified workflow within hybrid and virtual. So I said I'd tell you a little bit more about the Bird Dog and Atomos point of view. So we'll just go into that in a little more detail for you. The Atomos part of our story actually came from an introduction from Eamon some time ago, just on the outset of COVID. And we worked with Atomos to bring NDI into the Shogun and Ninja Ultra. With Bird Dog, we were basically road testing and have been taking their X5 Ultra cameras on tour in all different spaces and looking at how they can be developed and used within various scenarios. Now, again, because of that, we then ended up doing a webinar, which you may or may not have seen. It was in March of this year, and you can actually go on our YouTube channel and have a look at that. You can watch it in its entirety, and it's myself, Atomos, Birddog, NDI, and Netgear all having a conversation about where AV over IP could or may head. It's very insightful, actually, but it gave us the viewpoint and changed our perspective on what we were doing. And what we realized was that we had a product that we were sitting on and using and sort of developing that we could share with everyone and that could change the workflows for everyone. And this is the MMG Axis. We had a little dream that we floated, let's say, on social media again. This was April of this year, just saying, wouldn't it be interesting if what you could see on the desk is all you need at Control for events in the future? Now, when we posted that picture, it was actually, completely correct. What was on that desk right there, along with, a couple of screens and a few speakers, was and is still enough to deliver a small corporate event.